cycle to Kyrou, shoots, score! It started with Kyrou in the neutral zone. It ends with Kyrou at the back of the net, burying it. 1-0 St. Louis. Here's Tucker to Buchnevich. Buchnevich shooting, rebound loose, goal! On the doorstep, Sruggaroot there to slide it in. 2-0 St. Louis, 6:08 to play in the period. Stars get the extra man in. Parayko steals it, bounces it to the wall. Suter jumps over to get it. He gets taken down. No call. Puck to the net. Score! Now that's a pretty goal to give yourself a 2-goal lead. Suter puts the Blues on top 3-1.
What a night at Enterprise Center. A 3-1 final score as the Blues, they just had to wait for a Saturday night home game. That's what they were really doing. None of this nonsense, Joey V, of, the Thursday game to kick off the season against Minnesota. They didn't want to do it for a 9 o'clock start on Wednesday. They said, we're going to wait for that first home win against the team that made it to the Western Conference Final last year on a Saturday night when the crowd was packed and when Joey V's got the camo hat on.
That's right. It must have been the camo and the orange, although it's not technically the fishing and hunting promo night. That's on Tuesday, I believe. So we're still promoting it, but they gave me one of these camo hats. So maybe that brought us some luck here. Man, what a game. I mean, like you said, you'd love to see it happen in the opener. You don't want to get embarrassed, certainly, by the Chicago Blackhawks like the Blues did, this past week. But, Alex, to me, it's all about just the response. It's just, where are you at? How do you play that next game? Where is the team going to be? Are you going to see them come back with a bite, with an edge? Where is this coach going to be? To me, I thought the tone was set this morning with Jim Montgomery. His comments when asked about their star players, he paused for a quick moment, and that was about the most subtle and nicest way you could call out some of your top players the way he did. He said, with the Thomases and the Kyrous, we need our top guys to be top guys. We need them to produce, is what he said, to use his direct words. And they said he needs them to lead the charge. He needs these guys to be the drivers. And the game in tonight, that was the storyline coming in. And what happened, Jordan Kyrou, certainly especially, just completely delivers in the game, not only from a goal standpoint. I thought his play away from the puck, he had more plays defensively, backtracking. I mean, his backtracking there in the back check there in the first period, he traveled about 180 feet to go from offensive zone all the way to the back to get Bastian. Just clips his blade just a little bit. There were plays like that all over the ice, and hockey is a honest, rewarding game, as you know. When you do that stuff on the defensive side, it's going to reward you on the offensive side.
Let's start with Kyrou, because we talked to Steve out afterwards, and he said he was buzzing. He said Kyrou likes the word buzzing. He was buzzing tonight. And he said his impact on offense comes from defense. And he said him breaking up that specific play that you're referencing, you just saw the confidence go. And he said he's just always circling. He's like a shark. So when you see Kyrou playing that way, I love that you said that, because Jim Montgomery basically said we need them to produce. And not only did Kyrou produce, he was a massive impact in that two-way style that he wanted to see emphasis on defense.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And this is what he has. Can you do this for 82 straight games? No. I mean, it's nothing like that's sustainable.
Right.
But can you get Jordan Kyrou to play that hard and that aggressive and that defensively savvy, 72, 73? I mean, I'm telling you, if you can, you're looking at a player that has already scored 30 goals 3 times in his career, I believe.
Once, 35 twice.
And, he's pushing now. He could be a guy that can score 40. If you can play that good defensively, you can score 40 goals in this league. But I loved not only the goal, not only getting to the front of the net, and certainly getting the crowd on their feet. But you know what? Just the way he started. I mean, listen, this is the 4th game. Goal scorers, they like to get on the board early. The Wyatt Johnsons of the world, and certainly Jake Neighbors off to a great start. You like to get that first one under your belt. But every game that a goal scorer does not score to start the year, 3 games, 4 games, starts to kind of build. You're starting to feel like the pressure mount around you, and sometimes that pressure can be a lot. So for him to get out here in this game, of course, in the 5th game of the season, and get on the board, to me, it's really going to help him with his confidence, and I think that Jim Montgomery can always reference this game for him moving forward. Hey, remember that Dallas game? Let's look at some clips of things you did really well. If you can mimic that game as closely to it, you're going to continue to have success in this league.
Well, and on top of that, I have to imagine, Joe, from somebody who's played the game, when you see one of your most skilled players out there back checking, breaking up plays, that makes you go out there and put that extra effort. And I forget the exact line that Doug Armstrong used with us, but he said, this team's season is going to be, the pack doesn't eat unless the alpha feeds or something like that. I might have butchered it, but
yeah, you butchered that quite a bit actually. It's the lone wolf stars in the pack eats.
Technically, I said what you said. I said it opposite. Let's forget this. Hold on. Let's rewind it. This is what Doug Armstrong said.
The lone wolf starves and the pack eats.
That's what I said the first time.
That is not, Jim. Can we get that back? That is not what you said.
Jordan Grant, delete all of that audio file moving forward.
That's got to make the bloopers at the end of the season.
No, we're going to forget that. That never happened. But whatever Doug Armstrong said, Joe, that's an example of it right there with Jordan Grant.
It really is. I mean, it's got to be team first. Tonight, everything about it was team first. I mentioned it with you, Alex, in the pregame. This is a Blues team that you have to be okay when you're playing that team-first style. You have to be okay with it being a 0-0 game or a 1-0 game or a 1-1 game going into the third. Now, luckily, the Blues had a 2-0 lead heading into the third, but it could have been a 1-0. It could have been a 1-1. I mean, Binnington made some incredible saves, but, if that Wyatt Johnston goal goes in, all of a sudden it's a 1-1 game. And then you're heading into the third. I mean, that's the game you have to prepare for. But this game had some of those shifts. They had some of those swings. And to me, the biggest swing in this game certainly was when Binnington made that Wyatt Johnston save there in the second period. And then moments later, Snuggerud's on the board for a 2-0 lead. That was, to me, the most pivotal change in the game. And this is what you get when you get Jordan Binnington. You're going to have moments like that. Of course, the response for him, the start of the season was not necessarily exactly what he wanted, especially on this home sheet. Talking to him this morning, big smile on his face. You wouldn't know anything would bother him. I mean, you wouldn't have thought that he was in that game against the Minnesota Wild when they end up losing 5-0 because, again, he's all about the process, all about that next step, next game, next save. And certainly he came up with some big moments in this game that certainly change the trajectory of the event.
Well, let's talk the 5-on-6 play, Joe, because we've now seen it 3 times, 2 empty net goals, 0 goals allowed. And I don't even know if 0 goals allowed paints the picture as well as 0 high-danger scoring chances. Like, if I remember this, Calgary really didn't have anything that was threatening, nor did Vancouver. Tonight, Dallas essentially was trying to catch the puck before they were even getting into the zone. I mean, it is a complete 180 from what it looked like last year at the end of the season.
Yeah, it really is. Think of all the goals that went in when you're defending a 6-on-5 last year. And right now, they're a +2. Of course, with the Jake Neighbors empty net goal, the Pius Suter empty net goal. But you can see that there's something different. There's something kind of cooking, in that Vancouver game when they were defending it as well. Calgary was another one on that road trip where they had multiple opportunities. This Blues team, they're not necessarily looking to shoot it in the empty net, all the time. That Pius Suter one was a little bit different. But you saw Buchnevich. You saw these guys. They just push it to the neutral zone, get it out of the zone, and let's just live the fight another day. We don't need to go for the goal because if you don't, you get icings, and then they can come back and burn you. So just playing that simple style, predictable style, defending from the inside out. There's been some personnel changes. I don't know if you caught it tonight, but Pius Suter out there as a winger.
Yeah.
This is a natural centerman out there with Robert Thomas in a crucial point of the game. That just goes to show you the confidence and the trust that Jim Montgomery already has in a Pius Suter. The way he plays away from the puck, the way he's in lanes, his stick positioning, his sticks in the D zone. I mean, all these things stand out about the little things, the little intangible things that make him a special hockey player in this league. And Jim Montgomery has seen it enough and has already put the trust in a young kid who, of course, is brand new to this team. So for him to go out there and the way he sealed the wall, and of course his second effort to put it in the empty net, was a cool moment for him. His first goal here on this home sheet in front of this home crowd. But overall, the personnel changes for Jim Montgomery. He's subbed in some other players. The responsibility of some of these players as far as just pushing it to the neutral zone, not necessarily going for the goal, in number 2. And then the biggest thing has been defending from the inside out, not rushing outside of that inner core area of the ice to try to force plays. You don't necessarily need to be all that aggressive. The puck has to come through the middle. Passes, slot shots, backdoor opportunities. If you have bodies in stick positioning there, Alex, you certainly are going to give yourself a chance, and the Blues have done a great job so far.
It was impressive tonight, Joe. I mean, it felt like Dallas couldn't do anything. It felt like what we've seen in the past of teams that like to play 1-3-1 on the Blues and like can't get through the neutral zone.
Suffocating.
They couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't notice Rope Hintz at all.
No.
Wyatt Johnson had himself a pretty good game. He had some good opportunities. Jason Robertson had that breakaway in the second. Outside of that, I didn't really notice him much. Tyler Sagan, I didn't even know if he played. Matt Duchene, back from injury, but I didn't notice him as well.
The defensemen, too. I didn't really notice Heiskanen or Lindell or Hanley.
Yeah, and you know what? The scary thing is, because their players are so talented, I didn't really even notice Mikko Rantanen until his goal in that third period. But that's how good they can be. They can go silent for 58 minutes of the game, and all of a sudden they're going to wow you. That was a spectacular move around a pretty good defenseman in Colton Parayko as well. It was nuts.
It
was crazy.
And especially because he's not like 5'10", he's like 6'6" out there, and he's doing that.
Exactly right. I mean, and he didn't dance, Matthew Kessel in his first game of the season. He danced one of the best defending defensemen in the league. So kind of goes to show you the size and the strength of Mikko Rantanen, but also the quick hands. I mean, he's going to be a bear to deal with here against the Dallas Stars, but luckily the Blues, they really did a good job neutralizing him for the most part.
Final one, Joey V. I love how Jim Montgomery in the second period on the broadcast said, well, we're not really seeing a whole lot of offensive chemistry, but we'll get there. And then right after he said that, it felt like all four lines just found a way to cycle the puck. It did feel like by the end of this game, you may have found 2 or 3 lines that you could be comfortable with.
Absolutely, you could. I thought the same thing. I said on the broadcast, too. As soon as Andy Strickland did that interview with him, he said, I like our defensive game. I'm not seeing a ton of offensive chemistry just yet, but it was the very next shift. You started to see it roll over. You started to see the chemistry, the give-go hockey, the layers of support, working back together, forechecking together. And all of a sudden, you saw, of course, Kyrie get on the board with beautiful pass from Braden Shen, and then Tyler Tucker driving through the middle of the ice to set up Jimmy Snuggerud off a great play by Pavel Buchnevich, who also had a great game, by the way. Really good response game for Pavel. So you started to see it all over the ice, but, I'm just really encouraged by this team. The team defense, the commitment to defend together, that's really what stood out about this game. And you did it for your goaltender. You did it after giving up 13 goals to 3 over the first 2 games, and then you stifled what I believe is the best offensive team right now in the Western Conference. So they played some big boy hockey coming in. The Dallas Stars were the top of the Central and the West for a reason, because of the depth forwards, because they can hurt you in waves. And if St. Louis can do it against the Dallas Stars, I'm telling you, Alex, there's a belief system when you beat a team like that in the fashion you beat them. There's a belief system saying, hey, we did it against the Stars. We can do it against anyone. I mean, this is a different game. If you win this game 6-5 in overtime, I don't know if you're really feeling as good about your game.
Right.
But to hold them to 1 goal, it was a 2-0 game up until about a minute or 2 left in this game. That's saying something. That's saying, hey, we can defend as a unit. We're a good hockey team here. So that has got to send a belief system through these guys, and it's got to send a belief system through these guys, especially heading into the next week where you still have 2 more games, Western Conference games here on a home sheet.
Yeah, and just to build up those points, L.A. and then Utah, and could potentially pick up 2 wins against 2 of the 4 Central Division teams that you've played so far in the season, which is good. Let me tell you something, Joe. You're going to look good messing with those chickens with that camo hat on.
They're not going to be able to see me.
No. You're going to be able to sneak up and get those eggs.
Can't see me anywhere. Can't see me. The Hawks can't see me either.
Yeah, that's true.
Damn, Hawks are killing my chicken.
You won't lose any more chickens.
I got to figure out this Hawks.
You got to be careful, because otherwise you're going to have to order more, and then you're going to get 6, and you're going to have to
Don't tell my wife that. Oh, boy.
Joey, appreciate you swinging by, my man.
Thank you, Alex.
Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
You got it, buddy.
There you go, Joe Vitale. Appreciate him being with us. It's our Ted Drews 3 takeaways. Ted Drews, it really is good guys and gals. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll hear from Jim Montgomery, and we'll also get to some of your Ted Drews 3 takeaways. All of it coming up next here on the extended post-game coverage, the 4th period. It's brought to you by First Community Credit Union on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN.
Welcome back to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show, presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut on 101 ESPN.
Welcome back into our fourth period, presented by First Community Credit Union. Alex Ferrario back with you, Jordan Deacon and Jim Huer as well. Grant Francis also, everyone helping us out tonight here at Enterprise Center, where the Blues took down the Dallas Stars 3-1. You know, we talked a lot about the last few games in terms of the odd man rushes, the amount that the Blues were giving up, and just how just not on the same page the team felt in those first 4 games of the season. Well, tonight they gave up 3 odd man rushes. The Blues had 5 of them, and both the Dallas Stars and the Blues had 8 D-zone turnovers, but the Blues had more scoring chances in both high danger scoring chances and medium danger scoring chances, and overall 2 more scoring chances than the Dallas Stars. And I mentioned this off the top, it's the fewest shots on goal they've allowed so far this season in the first period, and it's the fewest or the only game so far this year that the Blues have not scored, and also the other team has not scored, a scoreless first period. First time that the Blues have had that in the early portion of the year. It goes to show you the commitment that the team brought on defense. Speaking of that, let's head down into the Blues room and hear from the head coach.
What did you like most about the response?
How well we checked, and it was for 60 minutes. You know, that was a really good team effort, and, you know, they feel really good about themselves. When you work and you play as 5, you know, our goaltender had to make some great saves, but they weren't 15, they were less than 5.
You talk about Kyrou hitting off, and he did. Obviously, the nice goal. How good was his stick tonight? Just killing plays.
Our sticks were probably the best I've ever seen them since, you know, probably since the year after the Blues won the Cup. You know, that was a really good year, and that team had great sticks. Something we've been preaching, and the players are starting to do it. Hopefully we can develop that consistently. But Kyrou in particular, like his first goal was just an incredible reload where he back checks, he has a stick on the ice, and his God-given ability took over.
What are the elements you look for when you do have a checking effort like this? Like what leads to that?
You mean what do I look for it to be successful?
Yeah, like what leads into having a good checking game?
Well, the main reason is we gave up 8 goals in our first home game and 5 the second. And we just thought that on the road we played a much simpler game. We wore out the goal line more, wore out the back of the net offensively, and then defensively, instantaneously now you saw us get back above pucks. And when you're doing that, it's hard to for the other team generate offense.
Your checking, your ability to check, allow you to have as much ozone time as you had tonight too? Or?
I think it was a big factor, but more importantly, in the first period, we tried to force too many offensive plays because we had time to make plays. But we, instead of just, you know, possessing it and then either finding someone open in the slot 5 to 7 seconds later, we wanted to find someone in the first period right away. But in the second period, I think that might have been our best period of the year so far.
And not only just playing like you guys played, but playing against that team, how much confidence does that give you both defensively and overall?
Well, it gives you confidence because everybody knows, like, a lot of people have Dallas going to the Stanley Cup. It's a really talented lineup. They're deep. They're good at every position. They're really good down the middle. I was really proud of our centers, the way they did on draws tonight and the way they competed against those centers on the other team. Yeah.
We've talked before about how you like Tucker's offensive instincts. I guess on that Snugger goal, is that just an example of him jumping in the rush and the driving there?
Yeah, it was a really good example of it. We want our defensemen to be active. I actually think that once we get in sync and we get in a rhythm, I think our D-core can be one of the highest scoring D-cores in the league. I think we already have a fair amount of goals from our D-core, but I think it's going to be more and more. We've had a lot of good deflections off of their shots.
Did you like the way your forward lines, the way you changed your season fit, changes time?
Yeah, I thought as the game developed, the lines got more and more cohesive. I really liked the Suter line and the Shen line. I thought those two lines in particular had offensive chemistry and they were working defensively. All four lines worked defensively.
How important is the Suter play at the end to fight for that buck and then get
Yeah, you know, the more we're getting to know him, the more we realize how smart he is as a hockey player everywhere, and his defensive instincts are really good.
It's time to hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, presented by Fisher Window and Door Store, offering quality American-made Marvin windows and doors. Visit their showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, Illinois.
So again, Jim Montgomery, after his team's 3-1 win, a couple of ones that really popped out to me. One, you heard him say it was the best that we've looked using our sticks since the Blues won the Stanley Cup. I mean, that is some high praise for teams that were very good after the Blues won the Stanley Cup. And tonight really felt like the Blues were dominant in terms of utilizing their body position, their sticks, making sure that Dallas did not have second chances on shots. And when they took those first opportunities, typically it was hard for them to get it to the front of the net. So that was one that stuck out to me. Two, you heard him mention how he believes this could be the highest scoring defensive group in the National Hockey League, and it's hard to disagree with them. I mean, you look around, Tyler Tucker now on the season has 3 points in 5 games. We've talked plenty about Colton Parayko, who's got 2 assists in 5 games. Cam Fowler, who put on a clinic offensively last year, as well as Broberg and Justin Falk. I said this at the beginning of the season, and hopefully I'm right. It would be the first time in franchise history if the Blues had 3 defensemen to score 40 or more points in one season. And then the third one was Jim Montgomery talking about the line combinations. He said that he really liked the offensive chemistry with Pius Suter and Braden Schen's line. The Pius Suter line had 61% Corsi rating, which measures offensive zone time and scoring chances. They had 8 scoring chances compared to 4 scoring chances allowed against the line that they were up against, and then high danger chances were 5-2 in favor of the Blues line. And then the better line was actually Shen Kyrou and Matthew Joseph, 73% Corsi rating, 4 scoring chances with 2 high danger scoring chances. The line that struggled the most was that Thomas Neighbors and Holloway line. Still had 5 scoring chances, but allowed 6 and allowed 3 high danger scoring chances with 0 high danger scoring chances for themselves. But some of that is just getting to know each other, and 2 guys in Thomas and Holloway that prior to this game spent about 2 games played together, according to Money Puck. So that chemistry will hopefully build with that one. But for Jim Montgomery, found potentially a couple of other line combinations that they could use moving forward. So again, that's Jim Montgomery. Before we close it down, let's take our final look.
It's time to take a look back at tonight's game with the final look.
Driven by Pure Performance. Only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
Hopefully this is one of those games that is going to be referenced moving forward this season of, man, remember back against Dallas? That was the game where the Blues figured it out. And not figured it out on the offensive side, because I think this team knows they have offensive productions, but figured it out defensively, because this to me was a clinic defensively. Dallas is an elite team from top to bottom. Even them missing Jamie Benn, this is a very difficult team to stop when they get into the flow offensively. And you allowed Dallas 6 shots in the first period, 5 shots in the second period, 6 in the first period, and then 8 shots in the third period. A power play that came into this game ranked second best in the National Hockey League, 5 for 13. Remember last year, I think they scored 4 power play goals on the Blues, or 5 power play goals on the Blues, that final game that they played against each other. The Blues not only did not allow a power play goal, but only allowed 1 shot on that power play, those power play chances, I should say. And the one was from Rantanen on the far outside where Jordan Binnington made an easy save. So this was one of those games that if it clicks, Blues could be a very potent team in terms of how tight they are in their own end and how good they are offensively. Because, again, they still had those odd man rushes. They still had the sustained zone time. They were generating as much offense as well as they were playing tight defensively. You can't go without looking at this game without talking about Jordan Kyrou. Jim Montgomery said it during the game. It was the best he's looked this season. My opinion, it's the best he's looked probably in the last 3 seasons, just in terms of how good he was on the other end of the ice as well as the offensive zone. And you hope that that chemistry could potentially build. He's had it in the past with Braden Shen, but Kyrou, Shen, and Joseph or whomever they put out there, I thought Joseph had a really good game. You hope that you could go from that one. But, man, like we talked about with Joe, when you're one of your most talented players offensively is playing that aggressive defensively, that makes everyone else on the bench look up to say, okay, Jim Montgomery said, I want these guys to be producers. They're our leaders. We need them to lead. Jordan Kyrou did that tonight without question. And also who did it was Jordan Binnington. I can reference so many saves that Jordan Binnington made that kept the game in favor of the Blues because it could have shifted momentum mightily. We've seen earlier this season where the Blues have given up a goal and it just kind of felt like, oh, that's where the energy dipped. Early in the second period, Jordan Binnington makes the save, a breakaway on Jason Robertson. Then he makes a save after a Broberg turnover where he stops Wyatt Johnston. Then he makes another save late in that third period that would have been a goal. Wyatt Johnston literally on the doorstep and a glove save by Jordan Binnington. All of those situations could have turned that game into Dallas gaining all of the momentum and tilting the ice. But every time they had the chance to, Jordan Binnington shut it down. That's the timely saves you want from your goaltender. I know Binnington probably would have loved that shutout, but more importantly, it's loving how the team played in front of him, and then Binnington seeing the puck well in this one against the Dallas Stars. And that's what led to their first home win of the season as they now get set to continue this homestand to see if they can pick up more points. And an opportunity to do so because they get more Western Conference teams as the stretch of 7 straight games against the Western Conference rolls on. The Blues will take on the LA Kings on Tuesday. The LA Kings currently are trailing the Carolina Hurricanes 3-1 with 12 minutes to go in the second period. And this LA Kings team started off the season a little bit slow as they're 1-3-1 on the year through 5 games so far this season, a -6 in terms of goal differential, where they have given up 20 goals and only scored 14. So they'll be the team on Tuesday, and then the Blues will wrap up this homestand with the matchup on Thursday against the Utah Mammoth, and Utah sitting at 3-2 on the year. So the Blues will see them on Thursday. But the next one on Tuesday against Vancouver, it'll be a 7 o'clock puck drop here at Enterprise Center with a pregame skate starting at 6:30, extended pregame on our flagship station 101 ESPN at 6 o'clock. And that is going to close it down for us tonight. Once again, a huge shout out to Jim Hewer for helping us up here in the broadcast booth, and to our great producers, Jordan Deacon and Grant Francis, taking care of us back in our network studios. I'm Alex Ferrario. Hope everyone has a great rest of their evening. Blues pick up their first home win of the year, their 3rd win overall, put themselves at 6 points, tied with Dallas, tied with Winnipeg, although Winnipeg picked up a victory earlier this evening. But still, the Blues pick up their first home win on the year, and they'll see if they can string back-to-back games together with victories on Tuesday. And you'll hear it right here on your home for the Blues, 101 ESPN.
Thanks for listening to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show, presented by Scott Lee Heating Company.